Of energy. Let's bring in oil legend and billionaire investor Boone Pickens. He has been one of the biggest backers of natural gas, which of course is to get more natural gas-powered heavy trucks on U.S. roads. It is part of his plan to increase America's energy independence, called the Pickens Plan. He comes to us today from Dallas. Boone, great to see you.
Thank you.
First, I want to ask you about the direction of oil, since that's the talk on the desk. But before we get into our natural gas conversation, do you agree that perhaps we are facing the biggest potential supply disruption since the late 1970s?
Oh, that's a pretty big statement. I don't know that, but there's no question, you know, the Chinese demand goes up, emerging markets go up, and there's only one place that oil has been added to the equation. That's the United States. So hats off to our industry in the United States. We have increased our production. So, and what do we have in the United States? The cheapest oil in the world. Talking about North Dakota, yes, $70 a barrel. That's a temporary price, I hope, because the rest of the world today, Brent North Sea, 118, WTI, 101, and so cheapest oil in the world. Natural gas, $2.50, Chinese, $16, Mideast, $15, Europe, $13, and we have $2.50 in the United States.
Right.
So we're going to get industry back in this country because of cheap energy.
So let me get your forecast here to help us understand why you're pushing natural gas so much and why the country should perhaps consider using natural gas more as an energy supply. What are your forecasts for WTI and Brent versus where nat gas will be in 12 months?
Well, natural gas, it's obvious that you're dealing with a commodity in oversupply. That's why it's $2.50. But same thing's happening to oil. I don't want to be repetitious in the remarks, but what a wonderful opportunity for our country. And so I think oil is up from here. And where? It's a tough one because the world is using about 90 million barrels of oil a day. And that's about all the world can produce. So when you get production capped, the only way you will control the price is with demand. So if demand goes up, production's capped, you're going to run the price up. I don't know whether it goes to 125. I would say north of that at some point this summer.
Mr. Pickens, it's Karen Feinerman. Let me ask you, are you surprised with natural gas at $2.50 that we haven't seen the supply-demand equation move, in that some supply just comes off the market?
Well, I mean, well, you mean, okay. I've been surprised that the producers have kept drilling natural gas wells. And so I think you're going to have to lay down some rigs if you want to get the price above $2.50. But right now, you know, tremendous demand for natural gas. The heavy-duty trucks are moving to it. Navistar, they announced 2 weeks ago they're building a 12-liter engine that'll be out shortly. So, you know, all this is going to happen. If I'm out there running an 18-wheeler, 20 or 30,000 gallons a year, which is common for Class 6 to 8 18-wheelers, you're talking about saving $30,000 to $50,000 a year on fuel costs.
Mr. Pickens, it's Joe. Folks watching the show right now, they're listening to you, they're listening to me and others on the desk and saying, heck, I got to protect myself against rising oil prices, go out there and make some money off it. But it sounds to me like you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, we can't drill our way out of this, can we?
Oh, we drill our way out of it. We've got more oil than we need. We don't have to drill our way out of it. We've our way out of it right now. The cheapest energy in the world is the United States. So you've drilled your way out of it. And, you know, it's an unbelievable opportunity for our country to have the cheapest energy in the world.
Well, Mr. Pickens, it's Tim Seymour. So talk about the Keystone Pipeline. You're very disappointed. You think this was a scuttled project that's a disaster for us, or, again, a missed opportunity. Is this just temporary politics? Are we going to get this thing done, or do you really believe it's been halted?
Well, no, I think it'll be done. I'm not declaring disaster at all. We'll be stupid if we don't take the Canadian oil. And if we don't take it, what's going to happen? There's great demand in Asia, so they'll build that pipeline to Kitimat, British Columbia, and it'll go to China. So you know, you're sitting here, we just came out of Iraq, and so we have no control of what goes on there. So we got nothing out of Iraq. Their oil is coming up. They're producing more oil all the time. Then you've got the Iranian situation that you're looking at. And so there's so much geopolitical uncertainty in the world. And here we are. We've done a good job in America to protect ourselves.
Hey, Mr. Pickens, Brian Kelly, you had mentioned Navistar a little earlier, and I'm curious, are there any other obstacles for this becoming widespread, and how big do you think that market is then for a Navistar or even for your own company, the Clean Energy Company?
Well, look at, there are 8.5 million 18-wheelers in the United States. That's 2.5 million barrels of oil a day. So that cuts OPEC in half if you had all the 18-wheelers. Is there any obstacle from that happening? Not that I know of, because the fuel is so cheap. Okay, go back to 72 when we switched from gasoline to for our heavy-duty trucks. Well, what was that all about? Price. Diesel was cheap. How long did it take it to accomplish it? 5 years. So 72 to 77, and you had made the switch all because of a cheap diesel price. You're exactly at the same crossroads today. It is a very cheap natural gas price, which competes with diesel. So I don't see any obstacles in front of us.
All right, Boone, it's a pleasure to have you with us. Boone Pickens of BP Capital.
Thanks.
No